But since we're talking about Heart Health Month, right? Everything's about the heart. I think last time we spoke, we were talking about the different parts of the heart and why it's so important. We talked about, remember the different rooms in the heart, right? And we said that each room has a door, and if the door does not close completely, like this, then the blood that goes in is going to come back out, right? And we don't want that to happen because that's what we call a heart murmur. And that's the release of blood going in the wrong direction and the flapping of that door. You know, like you ever leave the door open or a screen and go flap, 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 flap. And that will cause the heart to have an irregular beat. And it's not a big deal if it's mild. And I told you that they graded them as mild, moderate, and severe, right? And we don't want to get too severe because when it's mild and moderate, you know, you can deal with it. You may not need any medication whatsoever. It just feels funny. But by the time you get to moderate to severe, you may be short of breath. You go up the stairs and you're breathing heavy, and that's because not enough oxygen is going into the heart in the form of blood. Blood is that thing that carries our oxygen. And if you've got, say you have like a gallon of blood that's supposed to go in your heart. And when it goes in the heart, it goes to the lung to pick up oxygen. And then it goes back in the heart and goes all over the body. And it's supposed to be a gallon. Now imagine if you only got a cup. Think of how much less oxygen you're going to have to go to the rest of your body. And oxygen is the food we need for our brain and then every organ in our body. So now with this door open, what we're getting is blood going back, and it doesn't have oxygen in it. It's lacking O2, and you need oxygen. It has to go through the heart to the lungs, pick up the oxygen, and then go back into the heart. Remember, the heart is our engine. This is the engine of the body. Or another word for it, the pump, like on your car. Your engine goes bad. If you get a leak in your engine, anybody ever had a leak in your engine? You can have a dead engine, and that engine can cost you $4,000 to replace. You know, that's done with your car. Think of your heart. So today we're going to go into a subject that nobody likes to talk about, but it happens, and that's called heart attack.
Can I have a question about the car?
Yes,
before you
ma'am.
continue? That process right there, it causes a tribulation.
Atrial fibrillation? AFib? Atrial fibrillation. The heart as a rhythm. It's supposed to be, when your heart starts doing, you know, like it's in a rock band, that's a problem. Your heart rate, which is what she's talking about, your heart rate should never get above 100. Your heart starts beating at over 100, you can get nervous, you can get jittery, you can get short of breath. But the worst part about having your heart rate staying high, you can throw a clot. It's like throwing the timing belt off in your car. You start racing that car, it can throw the timing off in your car. The same thing can happen in your heart. When you start racing like this, throw a clot that can cause a stroke. That's a heart attack in the brain and a stroke in your heart. So you really want to control this. And you're like, well, where did this come from? I have no idea. My mama had it. Seriously, came off the vacation. I think I told you guys about this, or maybe I didn't. My mom back in September, Mom, if you're watching, you know I am telling you a HIPAA-regulated story, which you gave me permission to. So my mama, I came off my vacation, and then the same day I got off, I had to take her to the hospital. Her heart rate was 156. 150. All of a sudden, went boom. That's what she said. All of a sudden, her heart's been funky from July. How many of you have AFib? Anybody in here have AFib? Have you felt your heart beating really weird?
Yeah.
You know that didn't turn over like yesterday. You didn't just woke up and then all of a sudden your heart started racing,
It
right?
was my medication that made mine flutter.
Yeah. So your
I felt
medication.
the difference.
Yeah. So you know what else can cause that atrial fibrillation? How many drinking a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi? Coke, Pepsi, things with caffeine.
Yes.
All these caffeinated products can cause your heart rate to go up. If your blood pressure is high, try to get off the caffeine. You're gonna find your blood pressure goes down if you reduce your caffeine intake. Plus, if you're on an anti-inflammatory such as ibuprofen, Aleve, Motrin, they also can cause your blood pressure to rise. I don't know if you know that. It can cause your blood pressure to go up. Prednisone, steroids can make your blood pressure go up. I don't know if they told you that, but it's one of the possible side effects. So if all of a sudden your pressure is good and then somebody prescribes you some prednisone because maybe you have, difficulty breathing, you have asthma, COPD, and all of a sudden your pressure starts going up, talk to the doctor. It might be the prednisone. Or you start taking Aleve like Tic Tacs over the counter, every 6 hours. It might be that. Try to avoid the caffeine. So back to my mom. So 156, her heart's racing, but from July she's been short of breath. She's been getting tired. All this is my mom's like a whiz. She up and down, here to the store, back and forth, helping my sister. And then all of a sudden she was getting tired and felt sluggish, and she thought maybe she was anemic. Turned out her heart rate was running at 156.
Wow.
And she was in the hospital for over a week until they had to give her some medication to slow it back down, because she ran the risk of having a heart attack and having a stroke. Now my mom hates meds like everybody, so me and her had a little tug of war with taking meds because I don't want to be going to the hospital again for a week because it's that high. So let's talk about the heart attack. Anybody in here ever had a heart attack, and know anybody who had a heart attack?
I know somebody.
You know somebody?
Mhm.
What kind of things happened when they were having that heart attack? Do you know?
They was breathing real hard. They was like started sweating.
Sweating. So good signs. Sweating. What other signs do we have for a heart attack? Sweating. What's another one? Anything? Did you heard? Anybody do you know?
Pain in the chest or arm.
Chest pain.
Mhm.
Which arm?
Left.
Yeah.
Left.
Maybe.
Anywhere else?
Maybe in the jaw.
Okay, right, the jaw. This one they never knew. It's like many women, since I'm in an audience of women, sometimes the only thing women show up is that they're having this jaw pain. Something, my jaw hurt. Maybe I need to see a dentist, And guess what? What are the symptoms? Besides the left arm hurting, where else?
I thought you said.
Where else you might, because the heart's on the left side, where else you might find it? Right
In
in the
the
middle
middle.
of your chest.
Yeah.
Like someone's sitting on your chest. What they call substernal, right in the middle. And that pain can go straight through your chest. Like if someone was stabbing you straight in your chest going to your back. You may only feel back pain, but not like the back pain like you've been sitting in a chair too long or laying in bed too long. It's a different kind of back pain. That kind that's like a stabbing going through your body. So we can get pain in the chest, we can get it in the jaw, we can also get that pain in our back, in our sternum. What are the things you might get? Did your friend have? Did they tell you what else they had? Yes.
Lack of oxygen to the brain.
Yes, it's a lack of oxygen going to the brain, so they may feel what?
Dizzy.
Dizzy. You may start feeling like you're dizzy, You may even pass out.
Shallow breathing.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're starting to get short of breath. Start gulping air. Some people think when they're having a heart attack that what? What they have?
Gas.
Gas. I must have ate something bad. It was gas. Right? And so they end up taking a Tums. And I always say, if you want to know if you're having a heart attack versus having indigestion, take a Tums. Or some Maalox or Mylanta. It does not go away. Go to the hospital. Within an hour, if you have not felt any relief, you need to be in the hospital immediately. But if you have any of these, we're just saying only gas. Oh, you know, it's like a gas tank, an hour. But if you have these, that's a no pass and go. That's no stopping. No, let me see if in the morning I'll feel a little better.
But let me ask you a question. Say for instance, all of those, say, would this be assigned to? Say for instance, you having all of that, but it comes and goes.
Yep.
How say for instance, you sweating 1 minute, then the next minute, 30 minutes, you fine, then you start sweating again. How do you know if that's you're having a heart attack, if that's keep coming and going?
Good question. How do I know I'm having a heart attack if this pain is going, lasts for 15 minutes, go away? It's new. It's new. A week ago, you weren't having this coming and going pain. It's also may have something else going on with it. Not only you're having the pain, you're sweating. You're feeling short of breath. You may be feeling indigestion with it. It's usually not by itself. So all of a sudden, a new pain you never had before, all of a sudden you're sweating with the pain, you're feeling dizzy, and another sign that a lot of people have is they feel nauseous. You know, they feel like they want to throw up. You're not a throw up person, but there's some people who, when they're having a heart attack, they're throwing up. And it's not bad food because they may not have eaten. Most heart attacks happen Monday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know why? We're missing the number one reason for this. Stress. Oh, but Lord, I gotta work. Oh, Lord. Oh, the Lord. I want to go see the people again. You know, I don't like my boss. I don't like my job. I just don't like working. You know, stress. And that Monday morning blues when you know you have to go in. But also,
You get sick like that?
people know they have elevated cholesterol. Or another word they call it atherosclerosis. Which means that the blood vessel, which is supposed to be nice and round like this, ends up going to be. So blood that's supposed to be going nicely through a nice big opening in your blood vessels in your heart is trying to push through this tiny opening.
That's
Why?
the good cholesterol. Then when they say the good and the bad.
Yes, but right now, atherosclerosis is bad because it makes things narrow. It changes your blood vessel from nice and big and round to have a bunch of plaques, or what I call the traffic jam on the highway of your heart. You got a traffic jam on your heart. So what should be a nice clear road turned into like a pileup. Bunch of cars piled up behind each other and the blood won't flow. And anytime the blood does not flow, you don't get oxygen. And once your heart doesn't get oxygen, lights out.
Lights off. Huh?
Lights out.
Okay, so
Oh my goodness.
No, go ahead, ask it.
I don't know about the chest pain. A little sweating. The
Yes.
dizziness did happen. Pass out happened. The short of breath happened. I don't know about the nausea and the stress.
Stress.
That happened.
Did you have a heart attack?
I didn't have a heart attack.
The person?
But the person did.
They
and
did. And they
I
had
didn't
what,
know
5
that.
out of the 7.
I did not know that until the death certificate came
Oh, wow.
related to yes, Pastor.
Oh,
And this is why I'm listening because it's so informative to me as well.
Yes, yes.
That's why I'm asking questions.
Oh, I'm very sorry. My condolences to you. You hear this? She had a friend that passed away with had 5 out of 7 of the symptoms and didn't know they were having a heart attack.
Yeah, so and it happened all of a sudden.
Of
But like I
course,
said, I didn't know until
Yeah.
a couple of hours later. Actually, they know it was my mom. It was 8 weeks ago.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry.
in the midst of this, I thank you so much. So that's how come I'm very attentive because, like I say, until the death certificate came, it had heart attack related to some other problems.
Right.
But just like you say, the passing out and all of that stuff, that did happen. So
Yeah.
I thank you right now for sharing this information because it just gives me a little bit more closure
Yes.
to what happened to her.
And now you will be more aware
Yes.
with knowing this.
Yes.
We'll be aware of some of the things to look for.
Yes.
To look for it.
And that's why I do these things, because, you know, sometimes I just say my doctors, my doctors, they just make it too complicated,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And this is what we have to look for.
Right.
We have to
Exactly.
look for. Am I short of breath? All of a sudden I'm getting chest pain. I never had chest pain. Where's this coming from? Is it indigestion? I had my whole bottle of milk and magnesium. It's not going away. You know? What's going on? I took a baby aspirin and it got a little bit better. That's the hospital. Ready to go. You know?
Let me ask you a question. Do baby aspirin really helps? Because you know, a daily aspirin really helps.
I would wait for the recommendation from your doctor to go on it daily. But if you are having pain in your chest, here's what happens. The reason you're having pain is because blood is trying to go through an area that's almost closed down. So what the aspirin does to the blood, it thins the blood. So when the blood is thick or is clotting or you know, stuck to the walls of the blood vessel, it can't get through. And when it can't get through, it causes pain, that pressure. So when you take the aspirin, it thins the blood so it flows better. So nowadays, they not only put you on aspirin, they'll put you on Plavix or Coumadin. Well, they don't use Coumadin as much anymore because of the bleeding, but they have Eliquis, other drugs, Eliquis, because with Coumadin, you couldn't eat anything with vitamin K, which was all the greens. So they took you off green foods. Okay, come on, let's talk about this. I mean, we could have done a little bit better.
Vegetables.
You need your veggies, you need your greens. But you want Coumadin to save your heart and your life. You want Coumadin to thin your blood, but you couldn't have veggies because then the medicine wouldn't work. So now they have other medications like Eliquis that keeps the blood thin. Yes.
For the asthma, I know the asthma have side effects just like everything else. So they will make me cough at night.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So,
So you had an allergic reaction to the aspirin.
yes.
Did you have? Were you able to go on anything else? The Eliquis?
Well, she took me off for a while. Then she told me to go back.
Did you start coughing again?
Well, I don't know which one of the pills was doing it at that time.
Yes.
Because I was on more than one pill.
Medication. So it's really good to take a look at your meds. Any new symptoms, this is what I want to keep in mind. Change is what really matters. You have to be so in tune with your body, you know? You get up every day, you know your aches and pains. I wake up every morning, my hip says hello.
Yeah, my-
So, okay. Now, if my knee starts saying hello, what's wrong with you? That's new, right? If all of a sudden I start getting headaches every single morning, that's new, okay? But, I get a headache, take my 2 aspirins, I'm good for the rest of the day, but I've been doing that for 20 years. We're not worried about that. All of a sudden, you're sitting there in the cold AC and you're having, not a hot flash, because you ain't had a period in 30 years, okay?
Okay.
And you're sitting there profusely sweating in a 60-degree AC, we gotta talk. You know, all of a sudden, you know, you haven't eaten in 4 hours and you wanna throw up. But you also sweat and you have chest pain. 911, immediately don't stop, don't pass, don't even consider what it may be. Okay? And that's what I wanna do today because we can prevent this. And of course we gotta, did I do my stress calmer now? Okay, we'll do that again. If it's not yours, give it back. I keep saying this. Stress comes from taking on stuff that don't belong to you. Okay? Give it back. Okay? Because sitting around worrying about stuff you have zero control over raises your blood pressure. Your pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, and you stroke yourself out. And the problem and the people will still be rolling. Step over your body and keep it moving.
I had a situation like that on Saturday. My cousin called me up. She said, the Lord spoke to me. I said, well, what did he say? She said, I'm homeless and I need a place to stay. I said, you can't stay here.
Oh, Jesus.
Amen, somebody. But guess what? You said, you better go back and ask for the resource. Say, guide me, direct me to the resource. You know?
Don't come here.
And we have to know our capacity.
How much you can take?
You have to know your capacity. Is your cup overflowing? Then you can help.
Right.
if your cup is half full and empty, you know, you looking for supply, that's not a cup to give from. You gotta take care of yourself. You have to pay attention first and reduce your stress, because it shows up as, you could be taking your blood sugar medicine on time every day, eating everything perfectly, and it's still high because you're stressed out.
Yes, yes, yes.
It will. Your blood pressure, taking that medicine every single day on time, no salt in your diet, and your pressure is still high because you're stressed out. You know? Your
Okay,
exercise.
so,
Yes.
you know, they always say control your stress, but it's not as simple as that.
No, it's not.
But
So how do you do that?
good question. So I'm gonna erase this board, but I want us to be clear on cholesterol and the impact it has. Fried, fatty, greasy foods clogs up the arteries. I call it the FFGs. FFGs. Fried,
Fish.
fatty, and greasy. And it's not grease. The movie. Okay, fried, fatty, and greasy. Okay? Those things layer the blood vessels. And over time, they make them not work properly and clogs up the highway, leading to a heart attack and a stroke. And things make it worse, like diabetes, smoking, being overweight, helps to clog up this artery even more.
Well, you start.
So I need you to just clean it up. So let's talk about, so I'm gonna erase this. Any questions on the heart attack and stroke? By the way, sometimes you get no symptoms whatsoever, and it's called silent.
Wow.
Silent killer. So that's why you keep those other things controlled. Your blood pressure, your diabetes, your exercise, you drink your water, limit your caffeine intake, sodas and Pepsis and processed foods. You take care of that. If genes show up, you know? But do your part, you know? Can't do nothing about our genes, but we can do what we do about ourselves. Let's talk real briefly. There's a whole talk I do on stress, but I'm gonna give you, according to Dr. B, how to deal with stress. Because he said nobody tells us how to deal with stress. How to deal with stress? The first thing I said is we have to identify, is it mine? So, how do you know if something's yours? Well, it's my child, you know, and if my child is hurting, it's mine. Well, first of all, how old is your child? Okay? Is your child handicapped or disabled, unable to make decisions for themselves? Okay? Yes, it's yours if it's your child, and they're underage. That means the law says you are responsible for that child. But now, they're of age, they're adults, you know, they're not handicapped or disabled, then it's time for them to make their own decisions. And I have two boys. I don't want anything to ever happen to them. Love them to death. But how you know it's yours? If you can change their shoes. If you can make them change the shoes. Or any of your friends' shoes. I cannot walk up to you and say, I want you to put these shoes on right now. You better put them on. You look at me, no, I like the shoes I'm wearing, right? No, I want you to wear these shoes. And we do that with people all day long. I want you to show up and be how I want you to be. I want you to get the job I want you to get. I want you to stop seeing the person you're seeing. I want you to spend your money the way I want you to spend your money. You know? It's not our shoes. And no much love, in the February, no much love can make you wear somebody else's shoe.
Sound like a
That's
peace
true.
plan to me.
No amount of love can make you wear somebody else's shoe.
That's stress. Couldn't.
And so the work you do trying to, and I give you an example, I had a really loving mom, you know, she had her son living with her. And she saved up money like I did for my son to go to college. And like my son, he said, after a year and a half, he said, I ain't going to college. I'm just going to go into what I call the world of work, you know. And for many years, I was on my son. You need to go to college, you need to go to college, you need to go to college. That boy is 24 years old, okay? And all I did was cause myself stress. So this mother I'm talking to, and I'm sharing with her, I said, look, I love my son too, and he's living with you. Well, if he don't go to college, he's gotta leave. So I said, why? She says, is he working? And she says, yeah, he's working. He's got a good job. I said, is he paying any rent? Is he doing? She goes, well, he pays for the light bill. I said, he live with you, and he pays the light bill. I said, well, what else he pay? I said, nothing else. Okay, but you financially stressed. So she was stressed he wasn't going to college because she felt going to college would get him a better job, and getting a better job would give him more money, and then he'd be able to help out more. So what do you think I said to her?
He need to pay some more bills.
Hello? Okay, you grown now, my boo. I love you so much that I'm gonna make you
Pay
a
some.
man. I'm gonna treat you like you're a grown man.
That's right.
Because you are.
Yep.
He's a man. He's 21 years old. He's 24. My baby. So guess what? Here are the bills for our family. Here, you and me, boo. Okay.
That's right.
And since you live here,
50%.
we're doing the 50% rule. Half of everything is, we sharing it. You and me, boo. We're rocking it together. Okay. But her focus on him not going to school and going to kick him out, and she still had to pay the bills, was not going to help her, first of all, but it was causing her so much stress. Her hair was falling out. Literally, it was showing up with her hair falling out, her pressure high. Release him to his decision, but now focus on you, which is you got bills to pay. That you can control. You can control whether you have someone in your house that pays bills or doesn't pay bills. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
If it's your house.
That's
like
right.
Living with somebody else's house, I hope
It's a
you pay
different
them
story.
bills, right? Okay, so back to your question. First thing, is it mine? Can I change the shoes? You gotta answer that first. How many people get calls in the middle of the day? Girl, you don't know what happened to me. And you know that person because they have you on speed dial. And every time something happened, they call you.
Don't answer.
Anybody got friends like that?
Yes.
Do you answer that phone?
No.
Sometimes you answer? Sometimes you don't?
I know what she wants.
Okay. Can you control that person calling you?
Yes.
No.
You can't control her calling you, but you can control if you answer or
Answer
not.
that phone. It's not what they call you, it's what you answer to.
That's true.
It's what you answer to that stresses you out. It's not what people call you, or if they call you. It's how you respond. So the next step that you do is find out, is it mine? So you ask yourself your question, is it mine?
No.
The next thing I want you to do is plan. We get extremely stressed out by not planning.
That's true.
Really.
That's true.
I mean, anybody want to share? I mean, let's really talk about it. We don't plan. You know, before the end of the day, Willie Mae is going to call you. Because in fact, she usually calls by 3 o'clock after she get off work. And she never has anything good to say. And she uses me as her dumping ground. Plan for it. You plan that at 3 o'clock you will not be answering your phone. You make a plan for it. You know, and sometimes you have to do what we call avoidance. Sometimes you just, you don't answer the phone, in half an hour she'll be at your house.
Yep.
Time to go take a walk outside. Take a walk. Plan. You know rent is due on the 1st of the month. You know it. It happens every 1st.
Amen.
It happens every 1st. Or the 5th. So why do you get stressed out that the rent is due? Is it new?
No.
So somebody answer that for me. Why are you stressed like you didn't know?
Because you done spent the money.
But why would you do that? Because you didn't
Plan.
plan. You didn't plan. So you spent the money not planning.
Mhm.
So then when the first comes around, you start stressing.
Stressing. Yeah, where I'm gonna get this money
You start
from?
stressing. Where am I going to get this money? Now you have something that's in your control, but then you didn't plan for that thing that was in your control,
Mhm.
right?
True.
And then you act all surprised. Oh my goodness, it's rent time already? Yeah, it happens every first. Tell the truth. Let's be real.
It's true.
You know, it's Christmas already?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, how did Christmas get here so quickly? It comes after November. It does. Right after Thanksgiving, Christmas shows up.
Yep.
Every year consistently. I ain't got no money for Christmas gifts. I ain't got none for Christmas. But you knew from January that Christmas was coming back. You knew Christmas was coming back.
That's right. Buy a gift every month.
But you knew. And it made me silly.
Yeah.
But you can say, you know what? I'm gonna give me a little jar.
Okay.
And when I get my little check, or somebody gives me money, I'm gonna take 10% out of it and put it in my Christmas jar.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put that under my bed
Mhm.
or somewhere. Open up a brand new bank account where you take, somebody give you $10, you take $1, you take it to the Christmas account. And you do that all year. And then when Christmas comes, you pull out the jar. And if you have 5 people, you plan how you're gonna spend the Christmas jar.
Mhm.
And if it has $100 and you have 10 people, then each person get a $10 gift. That's a plan. They don't get a $500 gift because you don't have $500 in the Christmas jar.
Some people go over. Yeah.
That's because they're not planning,
Mhm.
and then they're stressed out come January.
Yeah.
Is it making sense? Is this making sense? Is this helping your question?
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
Is it mine? What kind of plan can I develop? Now, when you create a plan, the third part, really, really important. Execute. Execute the plan. Willie Mae's coming at 3 o'clock. I know she's coming at 3 o'clock. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going outside. I'm going for a walk. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you plan. But then at 3 o'clock, when Willie Mae's coming, you decide to go bake in the kitchen. That's crazy. You knew she was coming at 3. You made a plan to be out of the house at 3. But then at 3, you didn't execute. You stayed. How many of you ever get into that? If that man comes and asks me for money one more time, I refuse. I'm not giving him no money. If my son asks me for money, I'm not giving it to him.
Mhm.
This is the last time I give him money. He has to learn how to take care of his money. Okay, that's the plan. The plan is no money next time he comes. Mama, please, mama, please, mama. You know they're gonna take my car if I don't have money, mama, please. You don't execute your plan. And then after that, you get stressed out
Cause you done gave.
because now the rent's due.
Mhm.
And you just gave away your rent money, so his car gets out of wherever it is, or get evicted, or whatever. But you had a plan.
And he don't pay you back.
And you, well, that's a whole nother story, but you didn't execute. It's a sequence. Is it mine? Create a plan, execute your plan.
Yeah. Stay with the plan, y'all.
Stick with the plan. And there's one last thing, and it's probably the most important one. Accept. You must accept your plan. You have to accept.
But you were saying like avoid certain, like the lady that's gonna call you, avoid her.
Yes.
But to me, that would be stressful, having to avoid her instead of just telling her, whatever.
Get
That
lost.
would be stressful to me.
But you have none of that. Most people won't do that. They won't say, look, brother man, I ain't talking to you today.
Mm-hmm.
They won't do that. So you gotta come up with another plan. If the first plan is a direct confrontation and it happens and you don't have it within you to do that, I'm not giving you no money. So I just feel uncomfortable being that kind of direct. So we do avoidance. Avoidance is a good plan. You're an alcoholic and you know if you go to the bar you're gonna drink, we're gonna avoid the bar. You know you love pastries and cookies. When the pastry, comes to the kitchen, we're gonna avoid the kitchen. In fact, we're gonna give it to our neighbors.
That's my home.
You
right
have to
there.
do avoidance. Avoidance is not a bad thing. If you are not that person, know thyself and be accordingly to who you are. But here's the last one. You made a decision, I'm not giving my child that money. And he begs and begs and begs, and I won't have no car, mama, I ain't got no car. I won't have no house, I won't have no house, mama. You gonna let me go out in the street? That's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let people guilt you, don't be a guilt catcher. Don't put on your mitt and catch it,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Don't be a guilt catcher. Question first, number one, is it mine?
Mm-hmm.
Is it my car I'm losing? Is it my house I'm losing? We've had this conversation, I'm not saying the first time or even the second time, but if you made a decision, it's time to execute.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you do have to get comfortable with your decision. That's the acceptance. Acceptance is what we pray on. Acceptance is the things we pray about. There's a serenity prayer that says, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The strength, this is where the strength comes in, to change the things that can. And the wisdom to know the difference. And this is where you do a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer. God grant me the strength, God grant me the strength to execute this decision that I made. Because it's gonna be a hard decision to say no to my child. It's gonna be a hard decision to say no to my friend. It's gonna be a hard decision, but I must do it because I cannot continue to be under stress.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to give me a heart attack or a stroke, or make me feel down, depressed, or miserable. You may not get a heart attack, you may not have a stroke, but you might just feel depressed. Or in the blues. I can't do nothing because I got no money because I gave it away. That's where acceptance comes in. And oftentimes you need a support system for your acceptance. And start with prayer. Start with prayer. Help me to accept my decision.
Let me ask a question. I was reading that, a lot of the, I'm not gonna say a lot, but some of the Asian people, they don't drink a lot of cold stuff. They like maybe with their
Warm, they
meals
keep it
and
warm.
different things, they drink something warm.
Yes.
Told to lessen the buildup of the cholesterol or something, or
Vegetables, it decreases your cholesterol. Activity decreases your cholesterol. Tea, green tea is one of the things they drink a lot.
yeah.
Alright? It's what we put inside us that builds up our cholesterol. So being selective and pay attention to what you put inside you will help to control that. Okay? So remember what we talked about with the plaque. How you doing? And really reduce your stress. It does affect your heart. It really, really does. It really, really does. It put my mom in the hospital. She was fretting about my sister. Because my sister was ill and she was fretting that she was not going to live. And that wasn't her life, it was my sister's life. But she fretted herself into a heart condition. And as a result, she ended up on medication now to control what was going on with her heart, which was the AFib that we talked about, And her life has changed now. Her life's different. She can't drive anymore, and she's on medication. So before you get to the stroke, before you get to the heart attack, before you get to death, manage the stress. Give back that which isn't yours. make a plan to execute, and then execute it and get on your knees and pray for acceptance. And pray for those acceptance for those things that you cannot change. Pray for the acceptance. Is it easy? It gets easier the more you practice it. The beginning, it won't be easy. No is hard if you're not good at it. You ever see them kids running around? No. They're perfect at it. In fact, we were all perfect at it when we were kids. And we got trained out of being able to say no. No can be very helpful, especially to keep you from a heart attack or stroke. Okay? All right. Thank you guys. Any other questions? Any questions? I hope that helped.
That was very good.